Bitcoin has stabilized after its big midweek dump below 10K. Any bulls still left standing are licking their wounds and wondering if this is where they buy the dip. Or do they put the 2020 bull market on hold and let the price squeeze leading up to the halving play itself out? In other news, Binance may be in trouble as Malta regulators say they are not authorized to operate out of the country. Twitter is ablaze with conspiracy, but the corporate structure of Binance is not a state secret. We'll break it all down in today's episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Welcome back to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live here in the studio. Today is Friday, February 21st, 2020. This is your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for traders. I hope all of you guys watching today on YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook, and on Roku are doing absolutely fantastic. We've got a great show for you guys. Make sure to support today's content by hitting the thumbs up button on YouTube and subscribing to our channel. Hit the bell icon if you never want to miss a video. We post here at least twice a day. If you have any questions, please drop them in the live chat. The moderators are there to help you, and they'll direct my attention to them in the Q&A section after the analysis and after the news. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about today. Hopefully you guys are good. Let's get right into the markets for today's analysis. All right, here we go. Yes, we did bring it in a little bit. Hopefully you guys like it. Anyways, here on the daily time frame for Bitcoin. Just kicked something. Anyways. Here on the daily time frame for Bitcoin, let's zoom out. We got a few things that I want to look at today. Bitcoin on Bybit trading at 97.37. Still beneath the daily baseline, still in the negative aspect of the breaking Bitcoin indicator, i.e. bearish expansion is still working its way out. I've been pretty clear on my analysis as far as Bitcoin's price. As a trend following trader, what is the most important thing to me is current price. I'm not a predictive trader. I'm a reactive trader. I simply allow price to evolve and I follow it in the direction that it goes in. And the nice thing about Bitcoin as a strongly trending asset is the philosophy of being a trend following trader just fits in so nicely with Bitcoin. So many traders are worried about catching every little turn of this highly volatile asset. And I think in so doing, they do what we call, they step over dollars to pick up pennies, right? You know, a lot of individuals, if you guys just think about it, a lot of individuals made a whole lot of money during 2017, 2016, when Bitcoin and most of the major cryptocurrencies were in a bull market, right? And they did that by largely more passive buying and selling, okay? And what they were doing essentially there was they were riding the trend. They were riding the bullish trend. And then when individuals typically for the very first time attempt to go in and be day traders, they tend to lose money because they're now typically trying to fight against the dominant trend. The nice thing about the way that we trade and the way that I trade is that we're trend followers. We allow, if once a trend has established itself, we look to get in at an optimum price and we ride that trend for as long as possible. And if there is a break in the trend, we just hop off the train for a while, hedge and protect ourselves so that we're at a zero loss zone. So we're at a zero so that we cannot lose any dollar value. I've covered hedging so many times. And once the trend resumes, we hop back on the train. So that's what we're doing, guys. We are in the train station. We are not riding the train currently. Now, we have broken the daily baseline to the downside, also flipped the breaking Bitcoin initiator, which is what initiates directional bias. It's what tells us in what direction to trade. We have flipped that to the downside. Now, again, the weekly time frame is still macro bullish, right? So again, this is going to come down to your personal strategy of trading. Are you utilizing the weekly time frame to determine directional bias and then utilizing the daily for trade entries? You can also do this with the daily time frame for directional bias and the 4-hour, for example, or the 2-hour for trade entries. Or you can trade my default strategy, the way that I teach everyone coming in by default, which is to simply trade one time frame, the daily time frame. Because you only have to trade once a day, and it's a beautiful thing. So anyways, if we're simply looking at the daily time frame, we are bearish. We are looking for momentum continuation shorts, i.e. looking to enter based on breaks of significant levels or based on significant signals from the market that we are making another leg down. That level currently on the daily is at 94.40. That's very interesting that our continuation filter has flipped underneath us. So that is currently sitting at 94.40. And I think the big reason why we're in that situation is slightly fundamental, but mostly technical. So we had the golden cross in Bitcoin several days ago. And here on the 18th, we can see that the market largely responded by buying that news up, preemptively buying that news up. And that news was sold into. The golden cross completely failed. Any retail that bought that signal and considered it a signal, right? They were punished. They were punished by the market with one of the biggest dumps that we've seen in Bitcoin in quite a while in recent history. Probably back since, we haven't seen sell-offs like that since back in November. So, it's been a good, nice, almost 4 months without that kind of sell-off pressure, without that kind of selling pressure. And we saw it today, really rattling a lot of the bulls, really rattling a lot of the bullish sentiment. Now, again, on the weekly time frame, we don't have really any of that, but it did flip the trend to the downside, But because we had such an explosive buy up from retail, it did flip that continuation filter down below us, which is very interesting. It's very interesting because now we have the opportunity to re-enter based on momentum signals. So for those of you individuals who missed shorts, who are wondering if Bitcoin is going to take a more pronounced leg down to the mid 8s, God forbid the high 7s. That will be confirmed if we cross and close the daily time frame, the daily candle below 9,440. Again, that level will move as price moves, so make sure to check back every single day for those levels. Now, I have, let's look at where we need currently on the daily to break to resume the trend. That level right now is currently going to be 10,313 will be the first signal for the resumption of the bullish trend. And we will be entering into long positions back up above 10,518. And if that happens, I can see price easily going to 12 or 13 before too long. That will be the full resumption of the bullish trend. And this will just be a brief deviation and departure. And again, the safest thing for us to do is hedge our positions. Now, I have 98.33 marked off on my chart as a horizontal line. And there's some interesting things about this. So I'm keeping my eyes on this. I am kind of forward testing this concept that some of the members of our community brought to me in the form of a very efficient baseline or a very efficient trend line in the form of a particular look back length of the simple moving average. So we talked about this yesterday at length when we talked about hedging. So I do have the CC EMA script set up right here. I have the CC EMA script set up to multi-time frame. I have the CC EMA script set up to multi-time frame, and I have it set to that level. And we can see that it's currently sitting at 98.29. So I actually have, because when I test things, I test them with small capital. So I do have a small short position at 98.33 currently. I haven't updated that to the current values because that's where it was on yesterday's close. And when today's candle closes, I will update to the actual correct area for my limit sell. So I do have a limit sell order at 98.33 for an at-risk short position. Keep in mind, I am already hedged, i.e. I have a full short on that is 100% of my equity. That means that if price goes up, I don't lose dollars. If price goes down, I make Bitcoin. I also have an at-risk short position on top of that. We had entered into that what was it? Around 10,100 was our actual entry. I should have waited for the daily candle close on that. I took it a little early. I thought I was being clever. I was not being clever, or at least I wasn't rewarded for my cleverness. Let's say that I was rewarded for my trade, but I wasn't rewarded for my cleverness. And that was the last Bitcoin signal, the last trading signal we put out several days ago. On BTC for the premium members. So we got that entry right around 10,100. We've already hit take profit 1 and 2 on this movement to the downside. We still have the position open with the stop loss set at break even. And I'm going to attempt a re-entry here at 98.33. Now, there's a couple interesting factors for that. So we're going to talk right now about that same concept of utilizing the weekly time frame that I talk about frequently, and then utilizing the daily time frame for entries. Okay, so using a higher time frame for directional bias, i.e. what direction should I trade in, and then utilizing a lower time frame, in this case the daily, for trade entries, right? So Trunker, by the way, junior analyst Trunker has a fantastic write-up on this 3-screen trade system, essentially, where you can actually reference an even lower time frame for actual trade entries. in his channel, Trunker's Layer. So make sure to check that out in our Discord channel. Has some of the best write-ups in there. Great member of the team. Also, make sure you guys go check out Jason's channel where he is posting free trade signals. He's a more frequent trader than I am. He does utilize multiple timeframes here on Bitcoin, and he has captured some extremely good movements. I know that he took a long yesterday, already hit his first take profit on that, and I know that he is currently it's still in that position right now. So let's slide down. CC and Alanis Morissette. It's a beautiful day. So let's go down to the 4-hour time frame then, and I want to look at our momentum oscillators. So if we look at time transformation on the 4-hour time frame, it's also going to be applicable on the 2-hour time frame, which I've talked about as well. 4-hour time frame I think is better, especially when we're doing these public shows, because the weekly, the daily, and the 4-hour are time frames that are very easy to utilize for new traders and advanced traders alike, and they're applicable. So let's assume that we're using the daily time frame for our directional bias, and in this particular instance, I'm utilizing the suggested baseline from the 3 members of our community. Again, you guys know who you are, so thank you so much. That was a fantastic session that we had on Wednesday. So I'm utilizing the simple moving average, testing this theory, and I'm going to see how well it works, sort of with the reversal baseline bounce concept. Which is not really the primary thing that I'm testing. The primary thing that I'm testing is to see how good it is at directional bias, at least on this particular thing. And I'll be testing this over the next few months. But anyways, I do have as we can see, that level, if we look at the 4-hour time frame, because I am utilizing the multi-time frame feature of the CC EMA script, which you guys can access publicly on tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com or reftv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Links are in the description down below. So we can see here that on the 4-hour time frame, we are nearing that trend line, and we are below that trend line, i.e. what is the directional bias? What direction are we looking to trade in? Well, we're looking to trade to the downside. We're looking to enter into shorts. We're looking to sell high and buy back lower. This is the kind of fundamental concept of shorting. If we look at our momentum oscillator in the form of time transformation, we can see that we are approaching overbought territory. Time transformation currently sitting at 1.9. 2.0 is going to be the overbought territory. So creeping into the overbought territory is going to be kind of the signal that price is slightly overbought here on the 4-hour time frame. So we'll see how well this does at utilizing the reversal feature of time transformation to predict or call overbought, oversold territory and give somewhat optimum trade entry signals. Basically doing something of a bottom feeder in reverse if we could. All right, need a little bit of coffee, so I'll keep you guys updated on that trade. And then, of course, what would invalidate this trade? What would be an early exit for this trade? Well, if the 4-hour crosses and closes then above 98.33. So that's just a secondary trade setup. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I think that it's interesting. If we look down here on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that Wada-Atar explosion is not confirming volume or volatility. Although volume delta is slightly bullish right now, it's very, very low. Therefore, it's not really confirming any directional trending trades. Remember that Wada-Atar explosion and the concept of the volatility filter or the volume filter is there to protect us from taking trending trades when there is just not enough gasoline in the tank to get us from entry to where we want to be, to get us from entry to target. So again, volume and volatility, you can ask any algorithmic trader or anybody who builds trading systems. Volume and volatility is probably the most important aspect of the market that you can look at when attempting to build a predictive model. So I have found no other metric beyond volume or volatility that can help you predict whether or not your system is going to achieve its first take profit before the stop loss other than volume and volatility. If volume is there, or if volatility is there, they're really two sides of the same coin. The probability of you actually hitting your target price before your stop loss increases exponentially. And if the volume isn't there, that's generally the result of most losing trades. So when I talk to individuals, when I talk to my students who are building trending systems and they ask why they are having so many false signals, I look, and typically 9 out of 10 times it's because they don't have any or a very good volume or volatility filter. They've kind of ignored that module of the Pathways to Profit course. So make sure that you guys don't ignore that. Make sure that you guys get all the components that you need. All right, so Let's hop back out to the daily. Interestingly enough, the only thing that I will say on the daily, the only thing that I will say on the daily insofar as that same level, again, remember that level was tuned for the, that level that we're talking about was tuned for the daily, not tuned for the weekly. But it is just interesting to look at correlation and see kind of what we have. It does seem to be very effective here. Not too many false signals. Obviously, this one would have hurt, but you got a good exit here when you close the weekly. Not a huge loss, honestly. You didn't kind of catch one of these big candles to the downside. Thank you so much for the 500 bits. Somebody cheered over here. I can't actually see who it was. Let me go over to Twitch. Well, I am sorry right now. I have to grab the two-factor authentication for Twitch, so we're not going to do that right now. Thank you guys so much for the love. And GBU Wally, thank you so much for the $10 donation, my good friend. He said, I just got to say, I love money and I like making more. Thank you, CC, for helping with that. Thank you, brother, man. You're the man. You're the man, dude. Shout out to you and Gunbot University. Hopefully you guys are crushing it and working that wick. Dirk Cryptomeister, thank you so much, man, for the 500 bits. I highly appreciate that. Okay, what else do we got here? So on the weekly time frame, what's really interesting is that we have that same level, and it is supporting price. It is supporting price, which is very interesting. So essentially kind of giving us a reversal baseline bounce, right? But what's interesting about that level is that that is also congruent with the breaking Bitcoin filter, right? So let's go look at the Coinbase chart so we can get just a little bit better historical data. We need to change the length of the breaking Bitcoin indicator to 30, not 60 on the weekly time frame. But what's interesting here is on the weekly time frame, remember that we have trending and continuation, right? Trending and continuation. So multiple levels of sensitivity. Now, trending, we are still bullish. We are above the weekly baseline. We are above the weekly initiation level. And here is our continuation line. And where are we at? We're right at it, and we are within range. We are getting the golden signal. And that is letting us know that we are getting continuation for weekly pullbacks. So overall, from the weekly perspective, as I said, this pullback may represent a good buying opportunity for long-term positional trades. So for those of you who are looking to establish and pick up long-term positional trades, the setup that I would recommend or that I would consider looking at would be, let's wait for the weekly close and see if we are still within range. And perhaps Sunday evening, we can do Super Sunday or Money Monday for you guys. And that could represent a good, a potential opportunity for us to establish, a good opportunity to establish for those who are looking to add to or pick up kind of these long-term positional, these long-term positions on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, kind of, really looking to capitalize and get a good buy-in for 2021, 2022, really to kind of take advantage of this weekly. And whether we hold that trade for several months or several years, it just depends on kind of how the weekly works. But overall, there is so much happening right now in the market that I am aggressively macro bullish. Again, as a trader, I have to trade in the direction that my system tells me to. But, guys, when I read the news, when I talk to individuals, when I see what's going around the world, this is the time to be involved in Bitcoin. This is the time to be involved in cryptocurrency. Okay. It's 12:22, so we've got some notable mentions here today, guys. Let's take a look at the broader market. Broader market is really, really good for altcoins. It's a good day for altcoins. And again, I've been very consistent on this narrative as well. What was it? Last week, I published for the first time my recommended portfolios, an aggressive portfolio that is heavily weighted in altcoins, and a more conservative portfolio that is going to be the more majority Bitcoin, Ethereum, the more stable assets. And Tezos is in there. Tezos and EOS are probably highest risk on that. That's available to premium members. I am currently, that is always being live tracked. Let's see here. We are currently sitting at 7 and 2% comparatively, which is good. And the goal for those are 10x. Looking at my current open trades, again, about 27.60% open unrealized P&L. All of my trades, with the exception of one, have already hit their initial take profits and are in a no-loss situation. Again, we continue to have amazing success in the Forex markets. We're actually going to go take a look at the Forex markets here before we dive into, actually, you know what? Top movers of the day. Let's do the top altcoins of the day, and then we'll dive into Forex. Take a brief look at precious metals, actually. So overall, we've got big movers of the day. NUMER, RLC. Let's see here. I have some comments on and ICX up another, it was 16%. It's pulled back just a little bit down to 14.3 loop ring. Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin pumping again. DX Chain up again. WAXP, I don't know that one. Ion up again as well. So again, we want to be a little careful with, exactly what we want to go into. Again, some of these are, pretty good projects, represent decent additions to portfolios. And some of these are, you got to look at what exchanges these are on. Now, obviously, let's look at NUMER, NMR. Now, NUMER has been kind of this like small hidden gem. I'm not going to lie. I remember hearing about NMR. I've done some due diligence on NMR. I've studied NMR. But let's go look at the chart. So we will just look at NMR USDT or USD on Bittrex over here. And we'll go to the daily time frame. And it's interesting because Jason and myself were looking at this. Obviously, a nice 100%, a nice 100% movement very quickly on NMR. But what's interesting, again, the nice thing about trading the daily time frame is that when you get good, strong volume confirming signals, And we did right here on the 19th of February. The daily time frame PTP would have called this perfectly. Not only the baseline, but also Wadatar explosion and Minx. Time transformation, which I have displayed, did give the crossover, so that's going to be aggressive, but Minx did give the full long signal. And this is really neat to see, particularly also on the NMR BTC pair. We can see it a little bit more clearly there. Very clearly above the baseline, flipping the initiator to the upside. The breaking Bitcoin initiator actually flipped to the upside over here. Now, something being up 100%, I'm going to be very cautious with recommending that. For entry, pullbacks are always going to be the thing that we want to see. However, we do know the cryptocurrency tends to run. So I'm going to leave NMR as far as a risk profile up to you guys. The only thing that I'm going to caution you guys about is that NMR right now is being shilled pretty heavily by some questionable groups on Twitter. And I always get really concerned when I see that. Because, again, this is crypto, so sometimes that can lead to, hey, we're going to move up another 100%. But more often than not, it can mean that they're attempting to entice retail to buy at the absolute top. Yeah, the pumping rooms are back, right? So guys, be very careful of the information that you kind of hear online. Be very careful about some of these Telegram groups that are going to be running around. Now that the bull market's heat, we haven't really seen a lot of this stuff hardcore for the last couple of years. But for those of you who were around in 2017, how you guys already know, like, we're going into a pronounced bullish market here, guys. And you guys who were around in 2017 will remember, how you guys will remember, all of the kind of, how do I even put it, man? Come on, the unsavory actors who kind of creep back into the space, right? So, just kind of be careful as you're kind of looking around, make sure that you look at people's histories, make sure that you look at people's backgrounds, and try to take everything that you see and hear out there with a grain of salt. So just in general, when something is up, over 100%, we want to be kind of careful about entering that. Doesn't mean that, small risk can't be rewarding, but very small risk, guys. Very small risk. You know, with something like this, if you're looking for like if you're looking for the excitement to kind of continue to carry this momentum forward, another 50, 60, 100%, that can happen, but just keep your risk low, because if you're looking for those kind of returns very quickly, you don't need very large position sizes. So, you know, my biggest thing, you know, and this is what I've cautioned people with, in cryptocurrency, we have such a future ahead of us that reasonable, correct, risk-adjusted position sizes, the way that we teach, and slow, patient, methodical trading is all you need to really make some significant improvements in your accounts with the volatility of cryptocurrency. But if you do it safely, you can do it consistently. And if you do it unsafely, you know, and you're looking for that big moonshot, right? Like Bitcoin didn't moonshot overnight. You know, it took 7 to 8 years, right? It took 7 to 8 years, right? From, you know, let's say 6 to 7 realistically, you know, for individuals who really entered at those really low prices in Bitcoin to really realize these returns. You guys kind of have that patience and mindset. And if you do it with trading, it takes not as long because you're more aggressive and more active, but it does take some time to build up that 6-figure account, to, you know, develop the consistent year trading, to diversify your trading, to begin to build an investment portfolio. These things do take time, right? And you want to have the patience and you want to have the mental discipline to be set up properly for kind of the long road ahead. All right, so let's see here. RLC, other big mover of the day. RLC over here. Again, RLC is going to be an interesting one here on the daily. So we're going to actually check back with, on the daily for this one. We were below the daily baseline, and this is going to be breaking us back above the daily baseline. We've already had a nice little sell-off, so I do think that we could see some continuation here with RLC, especially if Bitcoin stays kind of nice and stable or just kind of drifts lazily to the downside. I think that we can see altcoins have this next leg up. Again, Bitcoin dominance is something that we want to watch pretty closely here. But overall, again, what do we see? We see on the daily time frame, we see, let's pull up time transformation. We see time transformation in the oversold territory multiple times, kind of a nice little double bottom on time transformation, and then breaking back up above the overbought territory, signaling a buy signal right here. And we've kind of had that nice little spring and the follow through so far. So this might be flipping us back up into the trending zone. The more patient, cautious trader is going to wait for a couple of days for either minks or time transformation to give them the appropriate signal. But we can see the time transformation is moving up. And overall, we've had a nice little sell-off in RLC, closing back above the daily baseline. So I think if we hold this, and if we can hold this for a day or two, this is going to be a potentially good entry. I want to wait for volume and volatility to catch up with me here and confirm this nice trending movement to the upside. Yeah, kind of similarly over here on, if we look at the tether pair, we don't have as much market data. Yeah, sorry. If we look over here on the tether pair, we don't have as much market data. We actually need to continue moving up a little bit more to 76.05. Let's make sure that that is congruent over here sorry. So I apologize, guys. I had the BB set at 30, which is the weekly time frame, setting it back down to 60. Actually, this is good that I caught this because I do have to walk back on what I just said about RLC. So we actually do need to actually get a little bit higher. So this, although this is telling us that, you know, obviously we don't have the markets to short RLC, but we actually do need to get above 77.98 for the Bitcoin pairing, which means we got some more work to do, which is good. That actually confirms then any hesitation. So we do want time transformation to work its way back up. We do want Wadatar explosion to fully confirm the signal by rising above the dead zone and the explosion level. And we do want to get above our significant area right here. So basically we want to get back above previous highs on RLC. Okay, good. So I'm glad that I caught that and was able to issue that correction so that I didn't give any bad information about RLC. Apologies for that. And then Icon, I mean, what's to say, man? ICX USDT. ICX USDT again is looking pretty good. Looks like it wants to resurge back up and retest the top here. Still need to get above 48 cents, 48.77 before we can be looking for continuation. You know, but what's nice about this is that Wadatar explosion has had quite a while here to cool off on the daily, and volatility has fallen very, very low, right? Now, volatility can fall much lower before we get the kind of kick up, can fall all the way down here to 0.07. It is currently at 0.17. So that's fine. But we've broken above the continuation filter now, meaning that shorts are invalid on ICX. And if we can get above 48 cents, 0.4877, 0.4877. We're going to get a lot of things happening at once. We're going to get time transformation above zero and minks above zero, which is a confirmed long signal. We already kind of had a little bit of hidden bullish divergence here, as well as briefly touching into the oversold level for one day. Again, oversold is more important than overbought. And things are looking pretty good. We're going to be one more bullish candle, and we'll probably be above the daily baseline and maybe even flipping the initiator to the upside. So, altcoins, it seems, maybe gearing up for a good weekend. Altcoins, it seems, maybe gearing up for an exciting weekend. So potentially be looking for those, some of those continuation plays this weekend. But unlike the rest of the broader market, I didn't panic or sell any of my kind of long holds there. All right, with that being said, let's take a look at Forex quickly. I'll just give you guys an update on my position. Still short on the Kiwi dollar. Shorted the Kiwi dollar several days ago, actually, on this close right here. Already at TP1. Price is pulling back up to the upside. However, there is no exit signal right now. Nothing really to be concerned about. Time transformation still in the bearish control zone. Wadatar explosion still negative. Seems like a pullback. Long on the dollar yuan. I don't have words. I told you guys, with the coronavirus fear going on, and with the announcement that banks now in China are, several banks in China are now defaulting, and it seems that there are bank runs in China going on over the coronavirus fear. I mean, the effects that can have widespread are ridiculous. If you look at the offshore yuan, it's even worse. But over here on Awanda, the ability to trade the dollar to the yuan, you guys want to be taking advantage of that. Any and all opportunities to go long in the dollar yuan. We're to the roof. And we got the nice continuation signal right over here. Took the signal, and here we go. Already at take profit 1, stop losses at break even, similar for the Kiwi dollar trade. Other than that, I don't have any, except for the dollar Swissy. Now, the dollar Swissy today did hit my trailing stop loss. Trailing stop loss was right around here on the dollar Swissy. So exited out of the dollar Swissy. Nice little negative reaction from the dollar Swissy. Again, don't have any fundamentals on this. Again, just the market moving up for quite a while. And as the Forex markets like to do, just like cryptocurrency, pulling back on it. That's why we had set the trailing stop loss. I believe we entered into the dollar Swissy on the 5th. Yeah, we entered into the dollar Swissy on the 5th. So it was a really good run. We took profit, I believe, on this candle close. And then again, had moved that trailing stop loss up pretty aggressively to right around here. It's right around 98.2, I believe, when it triggered. So again, good run on the dollar Swissy, guys. Again, we've put on, I think, almost 15 Forex trades and only had 2 losers. So it's been a fantastic run on Forex. All right. I want to point your guys' attention to gold. Look at the CFD over here on Awanda. Gold at 1646. I can see 1700 next week. I think 1900 is not too far away, guys. The global market is responding to what's going on with the international concerns. And just going to go ahead and make a prediction here on gold. And Bitcoin's going to follow it right along, right? Overall, long term. Taking a look at sensor charts, we have overall pretty low volume today, guys. Really low volume. 228, 232 over the last hour. Yeah, interesting. I am not getting YouTube comments. Yep. Restream is only giving me Restream is only giving me DLive, and DLive is buffering a whole lot. So it seems like maybe DLive is having some issues. It's all right, guys. We'll figure it out. It is Friday, guys. We made it. It is the weekend, man. So there's nothing to fear. There's only happiness, guys. Only happiness, guys. We've got the weekend ahead of us. I'm going to go watch some basketball, and we're going to watch the altcoins for the weekend. It's just going to be an overall beautiful, fantastic weekend, guys. All right. That's 12:38, guys. So we've got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about Binance and Malta. Obviously, that's big in the news today. So I want to kind of explain that. I've got a lot of information. I see a lot of false information, and I've gotten a lot of questions about Binance and Malta. Should we be concerned? Should we pull funds off of Binance? What's going on? Is the world falling down? Well, the answer is no. Binance seems to be largely just fine. And the answers to these questions really are not that complicated or convoluted. So we're going to break that all down in today's cryptocurrency segments. Let's go. All right, so Malta is the southern European island country, which has become known as Blockchain Island in recent years, thanks to its status as a crypto safe haven. Now, back in 2018, the Maltese government passed new laws establishing a comprehensive cryptocurrency regulatory framework, which made the island nation one of the most progressive blockchain jurisdictions on the planet. Now, about 2 years ago, the world's largest crypto exchange platform, Binance, was facing regulatory uncertainty within China, Hong Kong, and even a crackdown after moving its offices to Japan. They were only in Japan for 2 weeks before the Financial Services Department of Japan began cracking down on them, and they announced that they were moving to Malta. And Malta, with its friendly regulatory environment, was a logical next destination for Binance to base its operations out of. All right? It's 2018. Now, fast forward to today, and the latest public statement from Malta's Financial Services Authority, the MFSA, is saying that Binance is not even authorized to operate in the cryptocurrency sphere and is therefore not subject to regulatory oversight by them, i.e. basically saying that, hey, we didn't even, these guys, if they're in Malta, we didn't authorize them to do anything financial, and we're not regulating them. And that puts into question, obviously, just how Malta-based is Binance, and if their operations are in any kind of jurisdictional jeopardy. Now, when Malta passed their Virtual Financial Assets Act back in 2018, a license was made mandatory for trading and for offering virtual financial assets to the public, which is leading many to ask if Binance even acquired such a license for its operational base in Malta. The answer is probably no, because they're not really based in Malta. Now, there's still a lot of uncertainty on the internet right now concerning Malta's status within the Binance ecosystem, considering Binance's international scope. It's unclear if the questions on Twitter are their headquarters really even located in Malta, or if it's merely a legal formality. Spoiler alert, their headquarters are not in Malta and never were. Now, this matter has really only been made worse, in my opinion, thanks to ambiguous statements from Binance executive Ted Lin. Let's see if I can pull those up. Let's see if I can quote him here. I remember what he said. Yeah, there we go. Ted Lin, that's their CGO. He went on record stating that Malta is not the headquarters per se. It's the spiritual headquarters. Okay. And then CZ, of course, taking to Twitter, also providing somewhat unclear answers in a recent interview. When he was asked about Malta, he did kind of reply that, we have a small team here. All right. And what some would consider strange is how Malta is commonly associated with Binance, yet the company shies away from stating this as such. Many websites list Binance as being headquartered in Malta, but Binance themselves never go out of their way to either confirm or deny this because they're not based in Malta. But in regard to the Malta's financial authority, the question would remain, why are they suddenly coming out against Binance in a public statement unprovoked? Right? So let's cover where Binance is actually located and the truth about that. And then we'll get into why is this happening? Like unprovoked, why is Malta now coming out? Why is the Maltese government now kind of coming out in arms against Binance? So here's the tweets from CZ saying that breaking. Nothing. Thanks for the shout out too, by the way, CZ. Nothing has ever changed in Malta for Binance or any other crypto exchanges. No licenses were granted to anyone by Malta as of yet. So, right, they're answering that no, they did not get a license. According to CZ, licenses were never granted. But here's the thing. Binance doesn't run their trading exchange from Malta. It's their spiritual headquarters. It's really just kind of marketing, to be quite honest. Some media, even crypto media, has such a bad habit of releasing misleading news that only hurt their own credibility and our industry. Again, according here to CZ. And of course, earlier stating that in response to the news that Malta was kind of coming out against them, saying that there is a mix of truth, FUD, and misconception. Binance.com is not headquartered or operated in Malta. This is old news and has always been the case. Hence, there's quite a bit of FUD turning this into a breaking story. The community's comments show that understanding. So if we just go back, this is from Decrypt. Binance's real headquarters are in the Cayman Islands, with Malta largely being their spiritual home, as said by their CGO, Ted Lin. Now, in reality, if we kind of look at how Binance is broke up, the crypto exchange Binance is registered in the Cayman Islands and also in part in Seychelles. Exactly where BitMEX is located, according to the registry offices of each country, again, according to Decrypt over here. This was already previously reported on in the Financial Times, but unfortunately has not become common knowledge in the space. A poll by Larry Cermak shows that this is largely not very well known. So in 2017, Binance registered Binance Holdings Limited in Georgetown in the Cayman Islands. In March 2018, Binance used that name and address when registering multiple trademarks of the Binance name and logo. Again, Binance does a lot of franchising where they basically franchise their name and their execution, their exchange engine out to companies in other countries to run. So that's why Binance US is run by BAM Trading Services. The CEO of that company is Catherine Coley. And they are basically just renting a franchise from Binance. They're renting the trade name, and they're also renting the engine, right, that Binance built, essentially. Now, obviously, them being registered with the Binance.com exchange being registered in the Cayman Islands, this can affect the EU, especially with the 5 AMLD coming out. Right, because the EU has already stated that, Cayman Islands, we don't know about you guys. You guys do a lot of stuff. So later on in 2019, Binance registered Binance Investments Company in Mahi, Seychelles. Now, that exchange or that particular vehicle, that particular branch of the company has since invested in the Chinese media company Mars Finance in September. Now, of course, again, this is just a summary of kind of the woes that Binance has been through. They first launched in Shanghai. They relocated to Japan after rumors that the Chinese government was going to crack down on crypto back in August of 2017, right at the UASF. And there's a lot of theories about that. What side of the big block, small block was Binance on? Honestly, I think Binance was so far up the altcoin alley, which they always kind of have been, that they didn't really care. But I do think that they were definitely on the side of the big blocks, if I may say so. If I had to guess. And then after they were in Japan, they were only there for a couple of weeks before the Japanese Financial Services Authority demanded that they get a license, which would carry strict restrictions. So they decided at that time, that's when they announced that they were going to be settling in Malta. But again, they just moved their offices around. Yes, they did incorporate a couple companies in Malta, 2 companies in Malta. Binance Europe Services Ltd and Binance Marketing Services Ltd. And we don't have the data from 2018, but in 2018, neither of those companies reported any revenue, no transactions, no profits, no tax. And according to other reports, they're largely just ghost companies. But the fact that, they do have some employees there, they are hiring in Malta, they do have some operations and offices there. Again, it is somewhat of a spiritual headquarters for them. But again, the exchange operations occur in the Cayman Islands. And they also have Binance Investments located in Seychelles, right? And so it's kind of a collaboration and mixture of these different operations that allow kind of the Binance, the Binance logo to operate. One second. All right. Okay, now the other thing is, And again, according to CZ himself here on Twitter, that they have a number of regulated entities around the world, either operated by our partners or by Binance.com directly, and that they've always operated in this sort of decentralized manner as they reach out. So they are pushing the envelope and experimenting how to become a truly decentralized autonomous organization, because that worked so well for Ethereum Classic. All I'll say is that this is pretty well-known stuff. There's nothing particularly scary about this. Listen, there's two sides to this argument, right? So the one side that you're always going to hear is that, hey, this is absolutely shady. These guys are not being honest or open, and then the FUD starts spreading and the fear starts spreading, right? So that's one argument. And I get that in a perfect world, we would prefer, it would be nice if there was no FUD, no fear, no news, but then, news authors would be out of a job, right? So, that there's some elements of that they're valid, but most of them are not, in my opinion. There's the other element here, which is, listen, cryptocurrency startup companies took a lot of risk and have really helped to bootstrap this industry. I mean, for all of the FUD out there, right? For the majority of individuals, they choose to go to Binance, right? This is a free market. You choose to go to Binance. You know the risk upfront of cryptocurrency. You deposit your funds to Binance and you trade. And the majority of individuals turn a profit, right? Binance gives you access to acquire these altcoins that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, and they do it in a pretty seamless, easy way, and they add features all the time, right? Binance has suffered a few security flaws. Just about every cryptocurrency exchange has, and they have made their customers whole every single time. Nobody that's deposited funds on the Binance has had their funds stolen and not been returned, and had them not been returned to them either in either the USD equivalency of that, or the fiat equivalency of that, or the cryptocurrency equivalency of that, right? Governments are not super happy. Governments do not make it super happy for cryptocurrency companies to operate. And unfortunately, sometimes, as in the case of Bitfinex, for example, because of that, in their kind of quest to be this startup company and provide services to individuals that people want, right? Remember, market participants, customers want these services, otherwise they wouldn't go to Binance or they wouldn't go to Bitfinex, right? When people ask like, man, why do people continue to trade on Bitfinex? It's because they provide a service that the free market desires, right? That's it. If nobody liked Bitfinex, nobody would trade on Bitfinex. They are not putting a gun to your head and asking you to trade on their exchange. Binance is not putting a gun to your head and asking you to deposit your Ethereum and trade it for BNB. They're not doing that, right? Now, the reality is that there are some very savvy investors on there. There's some very, very good algorithmic traders. There's some very, there's very complicated financial products now on Binance in the form of lending, and they do staking and they do margin trading. And a lot of uneducated retail traders can come in and get not the wrong side of Binance, but get the wrong side of professional traders like myself, right? Our tagline is their stop loss is our take profit. And I try to teach people how to make that the case for them. But, I think a lot of blame gets pointed at Binance or exchanges in general that doesn't require them. The conversation between that and are centralized exchanges good in the first place for security or for ownership of your coins? And does that represent a huge attack vector for governments to come in and try to take individuals' crypto? Yes, that's absolutely valid. So from a privacy and security standpoint, that's all valid. But that's a philosophical question. And that's more that's more of a philosophical question, really, and less of a practical, like these companies suck and are shady, right? There's a kind of a big difference between Binance and Cryptopia, right? And HitBTC, right? There's a difference between stuff happens, and then there's a difference between shadiness, right? So just keep that in mind, right? So I think we're a little too quick to FUD sometimes. Now, going back into, however, why is Malta kind of coming out against Binance, maybe unequivocally? Well, it so happens that Malta may not be so much of a global blockchain paradise after all. You see, the former prime minister of Malta, Joseph Muscat, he stepped down in early January of 2020. And this has led to a big change of government and leading many to speculate, myself included, about what is the future of cryptocurrency in Malta, right? There's also the question of what the MFSA statement will mean for other cryptocurrency exchanges based in the country, such as OKEX. Is this the beginning of a crackdown on the industry? We don't really know yet, but it is concerning. And what it's most likely related to, we covered 5AMLD. This is the fifth initiative of the European Union's anti-money laundering directive. These changes are coming online right around now, right around this time. We reported on this several months ago. And with Malta as a European member state, even their financially liberal environment is subject to the new rules of the European Union. And as part of 5AMLD, virtual asset service providers such as Binance and OKEX need to register with banking authorities, as well as collect and share KYC data on their platform's users. Now, Binance has had its share of issues surrounding the matter of KYC and regulatory compliance. And the company has a history of fighting with regulators, whether it was in China or Japan. They left Japan to avoid complying with regulation that they felt was unburdensome. Now, what the MFSA statement will ultimately mean for Binance in Malta is unclear right now. But it's likely that the exchange platform will just cut its ties and hop to another island nation with favorable regulations. That assumes, of course, that they are not based as much as they say in Malta. And amidst the controversy, CZ obviously released that statement on Twitter about this being a mix of truth, FUD, and misconception. I do think that he's largely correct about this. Again, the information about where Binance is located is not state secret. Took me 30 seconds to find it out. So it's not exactly clear where their operations are fully based out of. Again, they have this kind of shell game going on, and it's kind of hard to blame them currently right now, right? But we do have to ask the question, have they set this up to be savvy, or have they set this up to be somewhat on the run from global regulators, and they're currently operating in a gray zone with no fixed address, right? Or is the Rebel Alliance hiding the location of its base to stay off the Empire's radar, right? This is a reality, right? So, again, let me state this very, very clearly. Binance provides a service that individuals like. You have to know the risks of utilizing a centralized exchange up front. And not your keys, not your coins, guys. Get a ledger, trade on Binance, but keep your long-term holdings safe and secure in your ledger. So let me know your thoughts and opinions and comments on this down in the section below. We're going to be doing a new giveaway for comment winners starting next week. I'll give you guys an update on that. So please leave your comments and thoughts below, and we will do our best to respond to you. Sarcastic remarks, death threats, those are all good. It is 12:56, so we're going to get to the question and answer segment right now. But before we do that, it's been a while. Let's go hear from our friends over at Bybit. We'll be right back with the question and answer segment. This is Jason when he first learned about Bitcoin margin trading on BitMEX.
Why? Give it back! Give it back! Give it back!
This is Jason 6 months later after signing up for Bybit with the Cracking Cryptocurrency referral link found in the description below. Don't make the same mistake as Jason. Sign up today at bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com. All right, and we are back in the live scene. All right, let's go to the Q&A segment today and see what we got. Oh, yeah, sorry. The other thing that we didn't cover. Other notable mentions. Sorry, before we do the before we get into the Q&A section, just other notable mentions in the crypto space today. The New York regulated crypto startup Paxos just made history. So together with Credit Suisse and the broker-dealer Instinet, they have performed the first live blockchain-based settlement of United States equities. This is pretty huge, guys. Also, according to a job posting on Fidelity's website, their Fidelity Center for Applied Technology, which is the innovation arm of the $7.8 trillion financial services giant, is now hiring for a Bitcoin engineer position, with plans to help oversee their plans to scale the company's cryptocurrency mining operations. All right. So if you guys want a nice job for Fidelity, definitely check that out. Let's see here. Brazil Central Bank has announced their Brazilian instant payment scheme that's going to be debuting November of this year. It's going to facilitate peer-to-peer and business-to-business transactions within 10 seconds or less via a mobile phone, internet banking, or select ATMs. And according to their local media down there in Brazil, the Brazilian bank president, Roberto Campos, explicitly stated that the platform is intended to compete against DLT, distributed ledger-based payment system. So Brazil kind of going the opposite way and coming up with a kind of centralized and traditional competition. Sweden is one step closer to fully integrating into a cashless society with their E-krona beginning their pilot run this month. This month. With it's going to run for 1 year till February 2021, and it will make it the first country, along with China, to be in active central bank digital currency trials. And kind of the last little notable mention is the Swiss Bank Governing Board is describing how Switzerland wants a pure digital currency, not just a collateralized stablecoin. So Swiss definitely want to go the full bore, full digital, not fiat, not stablecoin backed on something else. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on any of those stories in the comment section down below, and let's get into your guys' questions. All right, Wendy is saying, could we take a look at NUE, please? Earnings was okay, and we are sitting on weekly support. Let's do it. Nucor Corp. Yeah. All right, so we got a couple things here. So first off, so trend following, the only direction that we would really want to trade. Oh yeah, of course. Let me get you guys some hardcore lemons over here, guys. Let's throw some of these lemons in here while we're waiting. From the weekly time frame, I mean, we are below the 200 simple moving average. We've got the 1355 weekly cross under that occurred right here, and that led to a heck of a sell-off. The only thing that I really kind of see over here is this potential triple bottom sizing up. Now, we do have a weekly turn in the form of time transformation. So there is an opportunity here for a reversal long. Let's take a gander right here. Yeah, this is... Yeah, again, that weekly support is not bad. I think that you would be okay to take this trade. I mean, it's going to be wide, so position size appropriately. But one way that I would potentially consider taking this trade is a weekly long, kind of looking for a retreat back up here to kind of like the weekly 55, up around 53.98, maybe even 54. and setting that stop loss on that weekly close below 45.74. I wouldn't set a hard stop loss there because, you know, a wick down there is possible. Again, kind of sweeping these lows and faking this level out. But yeah, I mean, if we close the weekly below that level, I mean, that would, to me, be a break. And since we are in bearish territory, you know, obviously the primary thing that you want to be doing here is looking for re-entry opportunities to the short side. Now, we are pretty overextended. And again, we are oversold on the weekly time frame. Time transformation is also going to be generating a weekly buy signal with this reversal right here. And we are getting diminishing bearish Watt-Char explosion. So I can see the reversal trade here for NUE. Again, back up to about 54.12. 54, yeah, about 54 is where I'd kind of slice it right there. I really wouldn't really look for anything higher than that. You might even want to take some profit off around 51. If we look at Quadriga, yeah, Quadriga would have us setting a stop loss at 44.64. We'd be taking our first profits off at 51, and then 53, and then 56. So I think Quadriga is getting it very, very, very right here. Taking a look at the BB indicator. Yeah, BB indicator is going to be in conflict with that. So the BB indicator is obviously told us to short here. And the BB indicator wants to see price back above 54 before it even thinks long, right? And it went long here, and it shorted here, and it went long here. And again, typically want to just listen to that bad boy. So if I were just following my appropriate mind, I would be looking for opportunities to short this. Now, with the weekly being oversold, I don't really think that opportunity is going to be there. I think that it's likely that we do get kind of some buying pressure coming in on NUE. But overall, trending wise, we would just want to be waiting for that correction to the upside and then shorting it, right? So we can go down to the daily and look for an opportunity there. Yeah, again, the daily is about to be giving us a daily trending long signal, right? So just classic PTP, you actually are going to be getting a pretty much fully confirmed long signal probably on Monday, right? So if you're aggressive, you'd be looking to kind of enter into this right now on the daily time frame and looking at 49.50 and 51 with a stop loss at 46.97. So I think that kind of makes sense. Again, you said the earnings were positive. Ooh. Cool. Not bad. All right, so earnings were positive. We could see some nice buying pressure come in as a result of that now that we've kind of had this fake out of individuals that bought in. Again, so on the daily time frame, we do have a trending trade here. Again, we got some nice regular bullish divergence. Time transformation is crossed up. We're above the breaking Bitcoin indicator. Now that we've cracked it to the upside and the continuation buy, yeah, this actually looks pretty good to 49 through 51, stop loss at 46.97. The kind of bigger weekly setup, if we were looking for the reversal trade, we'd be looking to take price up to about 54 with a stop loss below, as I said, 45.74. But again, I think the better opportunity here for the stock world is kind of looking for price to pull back closer to that and maybe getting up to 54 and then monitoring the daily for those overbought conditions, right? Waiting until we get over here in the overbought territory and then reshorting and then reshorting. Big winners of the day over there on big winners over the day over here on DLive. Midwest Attempts, Squeaky Tadpole, Ron Legato, Val Cornex, and Ricky T. Thank you guys so much. All right, next question. Of course, I want to send some more love over to GBU Wally, my friend. Phil Sun asking for Litecoin, my love. The one and only. Yeah. Litecoin on the weekly time frame looks good. We didn't even quite broach into the oversold territory right now. We're getting a pullback to our continuation filter. Looks very similar to Bitcoin. I think we've got another week or two where we might get some consolidation overall in the market. I think for the altcoins, it's going to be largely still bullish still. But we could see this consolidation and then the next leg up. But again, the weekly is telling us that we do have a potential buying opportunity for adding to those long terms. This is kind of the first significant weekly pullback that we've gotten in this bullish expansion. So I do think that these, for the most part, for individuals, represent some buying opportunities for those long-term positional trades. I think this is a good opportunity for people who particularly are looking to kind of start to build some positions. You know, individuals that didn't want to buy anything and hold anything. I think you guys have some good opportunities for weekly time frame trades here, right? Especially with these weekly pullbacks. That'll be invalidated on a weekly close below 64.32. If Litecoin loses 64.32, then we kind of have to sit on the sidelines and wait for a little bit. Daily time frame. Daily time frame, just like Bitcoin, we are going to be overly bearish. In fact, there is a opportunity for a re-entry. We are within range for a continuation short, but time transformation has crossed back up to the upside, as has Minx. So kind of looking for that momentum signal to the downside, or for price to get back above 76 and then come back down below 76 would be the daily reshorting opportunity. But again, I am positionally long on Litecoin, and I'd have to go to BitMEX if I wanted to take the trade, and I'm kind of good on that. So again, I've been holding Litecoin since about $46, I believe was my average entry on Litecoin, and we'll be holding that for quite a lot longer, guys. Irish wants to know if Stellar Lumens is looking good or bad. It's probably not looking great. At weekly time frame, again, getting that pull, you know, we've got some more room to pull back on the weekly time frame for XLM, maybe another 10 to 11%, down to about 6 and a third cents, 0.06323. I could see price pulling back to about 0.0623. And if we break that, if we close the weekly below that level, then things start to get overly negative. On the daily time frame, we don't have continuation longs yet. We're basically sitting on the sidelines, and daily shorts for XLM are valid. Again, shorting it, don't really have a good platform to do that. Maybe on Binance margin. On the daily, we need to go ahead and get back above roughly, we need to get almost back up to 8 cents. We need to break some levels and we can go long. On the daily, we're almost to oversold territory. If we get to oversold territory on some of these altcoins with the weekly looking the way that it is, I'll probably be doing some greedy buying. I'm not going to lie. But we're not quite there yet. I think that we still got some room to breathe to the downside. All right. At least on XLM USDT. Small caps are popping off, I'm not going to lie, so maybe look there for your opportunities over the weekend, guys. The majors, I still think got some more room to kind of expand to the downside. XMR USD from Mr. Bob Smith. Hopefully you're doing good over there, Bob. Again, XMR USD, again, getting a nice cross, almost a potential cross back over on time transformation. So we could almost reshort XMR USD. Again, same kind of narrative here on the weekly time frame, kind of getting that pullback, right, to the weekly continuation level. Weekly still quite bullish. On the daily, we're not quite oversold yet, not really where we want to be buying. If we're being aggressive to the upside and looking for those buying opportunities on the daily, we're really not there yet. And if we're looking for trending opportunities on the daily, we need to get back roughly above $92. So we've got some work to do. I don't see any appropriate action to take on XMR quite yet. Andrew Munns says SGOL is looking sweet for a 2-year projection. Doing you a solid, Andrew. I'm going to trust you on this one, right? I just looked at my Robinhood. I got $74.72 just sitting in there. That's probably from dividends that I've gotten over this last week. So we're going to ride out together, man. Boom. There you go, brother. Let's ride. I know SGOL. I know SGOL, man. Good stuff. All right. I'll call you in 2 years, man. If it's not, if it hasn't quadrupled in value, not allowed back in the chat, man. Just kidding, my brother. Kevin M's asking about Matic. Looks like it has some catching up to do. Yeah, we don't have all the data in the world that we want from the weekly time frame on Matic. Again, here's the continuation filter, but we just don't have enough data for it to be really signaling anything. The weekly is bullish on Matic. We are getting that pullback to that continuation level again. It's going to be kind of difficult for us to work with those levels there on the weekly. On the daily, we're actually getting the exit signal for shorts on today's daily time frame, but not the continuation signal. Yeah, not the continuation signal, not yet, brother. So yeah, Matic. I mean, small caps, I think, have some room to move up. Matic might fall into that. I kind of put the IEOs in their own little territory. I kind of put the IEO, the exchange coins, kind of into their own little territory there, So, you've got Harmony, and you've got Matic, and you've got like 20 of them. But yeah, those. Kind of put them into their own territory. I see them kind of move, seller. You see them kind of move on their own. The Binance IEO coins kind of move on their own there. FET. So yeah, sorry. So just getting into the raw technicals, we need to see Matic above 0.023 cents, and we can be looking for continuation longs. Again, we're just not, although the weekly is tentatively bullish, as I said on a lot of these kind of mid caps, we're not really oversold yet, so we don't really have that buying opportunity yet. All right, so I think we've got a little bit more room to breathe to the downside, and if that's not going to be the case, if we don't breathe to the downside, then we need to be patient and let price kind of come back up and break these daily levels, and then we can continue up for our next leg up. But just kind of want to be patient, man. Want to be patient. All right. I think that covers most of the questions. Hey, Val Cornex, he says, can you check out Centivate SNTVTF? Well, it's not on here, sir. So I'm going to have to go to cointrader.pro. Charts.cointrader.pro. This is a good buy. Yeah. We've got the daily 1355 moving average crossover, exponential moving average crossover. After that crossover, we get a nice pullback to the 13. We got a pullback to test the crossover level, just like with the golden cross type thing. We got some nice bullish, good volume on this buyback right now. Money flow index is above the 0 line, above the 50 line. Commodity channel index is above the 0 line here, which is just kind of my ad hoc, trending system here for Coin Paprika. Yeah, this looks good, man. This looks good. I would have to reference the ATR to get some values in here for take profit targets, but this looks good. I think we're going to break these local highs. Invalidation if we close back below the 55 EMA. Get it, buddy. do Andrew didn't even say anything, man. Watch if I ever buy a stock for you again. Hey, I got my Hormel dividends. Yeah, see, that was my Hormel dividends. And my AbbVie dividends. And my Mplex dividends. No. I already spent those. It's just my Hormel dividends. So, my Hormel dividends paid me $75 this month. Nice. Oh, now you... Yeah, we haven't looked at Hex in a while. Let's see if see how rich my friends are right now. Get it, boys. Hex just, I mean, listen, we don't have a lot of market data, so TA on this is going to be a little, you know what I mean? But, you know, we crossed below zero. Money flow index has been dropping. Volume is high, but so is the sell-off. So, you know, we'll see. All right, guys, check it out, guys. Andrew, you asked for SGOL, and I straight up picked up my phone and bought SGOL on Robinhood after looking at your pick. I even showed my Robinhood account, and you missed it. We had a moment. Okay, final request here is going to be from Mr. Wayne. Zcash. Yeah, you know, honestly, dude, Zcash is looking very similar to all these others, with the weekly being bullish, and so we're kind of wanting to get daily pullbacks, but the daily's just really not quite there yet, right? The daily's really not quite there yet. And now, as far as looking for daily trends, we're bearish, and we need to get back really above 65.80 at the very least, ideally 77, and we can kind of get that really nice next leg up on Zcash. So, you know, either looking for oversold conditions or looking for some of these significant levels to break. I said we're gonna ride out on this SGOL together, Andrew. I said I'm gonna hold it for 2 years, and I expect it to 4x. You guys know what time it is. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. I've been your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at KrakenCryptocurrency.com. If you enjoy the content, make sure to slap a like on today's video and subscribe to the channel with the bell icon if you have not already. We post twice a day. You can also follow us on our social media. We're pretty active over there, post unique custom content. Oh, listen, guys, if you have not gone over and seen the pinned tweet on our Twitter, you guys got to do that. tw.krakencryptocurrency.com. Look, you know, just watch the video on our pinned tweet. I want to give a huge shout out to Jack on that. He did such a fantastic job with that tweet. We've got such a fantastic team, very talented. So hats off to Jack. That was absolutely incredible. We will be back on Monday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. You know, overall, be safe over the weekend, guys. I think that the small caps seem to be kind of large. You know, small caps seem to be exploding. I think that there's some volatility and volume moving into that aspect of the market and into that sector of the crypto market. So there's going to be opportunities there for those who want to trade over the weekend. As far as, kind of our large caps, our median caps, I think that we can still see some movement to the downside. So overall, I'd like to see some significant daily levels break back up to the upside so we can get continuation. Or I'd like to see some really oversold conditions on the daily with the weekly bullish trend being intact. And then that can represent a buying opportunity as well. Other than that, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, please leave them in the comments section down below. I'll do my best to reply to them ASAP. Make sure to hop in the Discord over the weekend. That is the place to be to stay up to date with everything that we do. Discord.krakencryptocurrency.com. There are links down in the description below for anything that you could need. And again, questions can be directed in the comments section or into our live Discord. If you guys would like mentoring, assistance, on your journey to become a consistently profitable trader, make sure to join us in the group at premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. You get access to all of our premium analysis, our proprietary indicators, our proprietary signals, our mentoring, and our educational material as well. So come join us on this journey toward excellence, guys. I will see you guys back here on Monday. Be safe, be good, be excellent toward one another, and do something you guys like this Saturday. Tell me what you guys did over the weekend on Monday, all right? But make sure that it's something that fulfills you as a person and increases your life. So I'll see you guys back here on Monday. Be good. I'll see you in the Discord.